Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Under Construction.
What it do, baby?
To my left, I got Rodney Cam Newton Richardson with me. What's up, Rodney? What's up?
What it do, baby?
Swag on stupid.
Oh, man. Hey, man, I really hope y'all watching right now. Rodney Owen. If you listen on Anchor, make sure you check us out on YouTube and Facebook. You got to see what Rodney look like. Always to my right,
a drip.
I got Jamal, not as angry fan because both of his teams got a W this weekend. Darby with me. What's up, Jamal?
What's happening, man?
Hey, man, how does it feel to be 500 on the college level right now? Are you trusting Taggart now?
No, absolutely
still not trusting after beating Louisville.
No,
we still can't trust Taggart.
No.
So what we got to do to trust Taggart?
No.
Now look,
answer that real quickly. Don't blow 21-point leads and beat somebody who's actually worth a crap.
I actually thought Louisville was gonna beat y'all.
Me too. We got lucky again.
So you got lucky against the team that you were supposed to.
Yes.
Nice.
Florida State's so trash.
Who y'all got next week?
Let's move on.
Who y'all got next week?
It doesn't mess up. Who cares?
I don't even know. All right. Well, look.
CP, West Charlotte.
Hey, look, y'all. We're not gonna spend too much time. We got a little bit of energy today. The Carolina Panthers finally blessed us with a W of the season. So
rev up them F-150s, baby. Let's
go. So look, y'all, we gonna get right into it. All right. So the Panthers and the Cardinals, they just got finished playing at the time of this recording. Panthers won 38-20. I'm gonna shout out some stats. I'm gonna ask y'all a question and we're gonna get this going. All right.
All right.
So Kyle Allen, 250 plus passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns. CMC, 150 plus yards rushing. Greg Olsen, 2 touchdowns. The defense had 7 sacks, 2 interceptions.
8.
They had 8 sacks?
8 sacks.
8 sacks, 2 interceptions. So Jamal, I got a question for you.
What's up, man?
Why did we draft Will Grier? Why did we draft Will Grier? And I know this is only Allen's second start of his career. And I don't want to get accused of overreacting. He's 2-0 in these games. I don't want to get accused of overreacting, but why did we draft Will Grier?
I have a counter question. How come we can't overreact? Because everybody else is already.
The whole world is overreacting.
Apparently the Cam Newton era is done.
It's
over.
Huge QB controversy.
It's a controversy already. But I got 2 words to answer your question, man. David Tepper. That's why we drafted Will Grier. And it's ironic because, the other owner in this city who gets blamed for drafting our players, I just don't see the same fire, the same discussion when it comes to the owner of the Panthers for some reason. But I don't know. Why did we draft Will Grier?
I don't know. What you got, Rodney?
It looked good holding that clipboard today.
Ticket sales.
Charlotte.
Ticket sales. Mecklenburg County's finest. I mean, obviously you wanted to have a contingency plan.
Yeah, no doubt.
You thought he was more prepared than he showed in the preseason. And so I can see it, but I would rather have had a veteran backup than trusting Will Grier. But
yeah,
I'm cool with Kyle Allen now.
I think everybody in Charlotte.
I'm cool with Kyle Allen.
Now, speaking of Kyle Allen, like what do you guys? What were you thinking about him going into the game, and what are your thoughts now after we watched what he did today?
I had a feeling that the Panthers would win big today.
Okay,
I truly did. I've seen this movie before. Okay, and when I say that, let me just advise Mecklenburg County and surrounding areas, calm y'all ass down. Please. I got 2 words for y'all. Matt Moore. For those of you who were around back then, Matt Moore was a backup quarterback who came in and did something very similar to what Kyle Allen did today. We see what happened with that. Now, I'm not saying I want that to happen to Kyle Allen. I want us to ride this wave as far as we can ride it, okay? But I just need everybody to just calm down. We got a tough Houston team next week. We don't want to. We're not going to get too far into that just yet. But as far as what we saw today, man, I actually expected this.
Okay.
And I really don't know why. And I've said this before. I don't know why everyone just kind of forgets and doesn't talk about that last game when Kyle Allen started against the Saints. Because everybody's like, oh, well, they weren't playing for nothing. It was the last game. No.
They played the starters.
They played their starters the entire game. And Kyle Allen did the same thing he did today. So let's not act surprised for those of us who've been paying attention.
Rodney, give me your thoughts on Mr. Allen today.
I thought we would lose, but close. I thought the defense would play inspired. I thought it'd be like a 13-20 game. Honestly, I did not see this coming at all. I got a prophecy, guys.
What's up? What you got?
You remember back in, was it 2003? It was a black quarterback.
Stop, man. You stop this right now.
There's a black quarterback. There's a black quarterback named Rodney. Beautiful name. And he got benched.
Yeah.
At
halftime.
And his wife sung the national anthem and didn't sound good that day.
Oh, don't go there. She's still fine though.
She's still bad.
She's still bad. 50's bad. Clint Huxtable bad. And then the savior came named Jake DeLong. He was a Cajun that was basically average looking. Kyle Allen is average looking. He's the new Jake DeLong. I'm overreacting today. I'm feeding into the hype. Join me, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Rev up your F-150s. Let's go.
Concord, let's get it.
Gadsden County, let's go.
Oh, my God.
Rutherford County, let's go.
Belmont, let's go.
Now,
Yeah.
okay, looking at today's game with everything that's going on with Allen, and we'll get to talking about Cam Newton as far as his health and how he's been treated later. But quarterback controversy?
No. I was just joking, though.
No, Rodney, you take this one first.
Cam Newton didn't perform as well because he was obviously hurt.
But nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear that. He was obviously hurt. If you look at last year when he was healthy, one of his best years up until that Pittsburgh game. I think the emergence of Kyle Allen gives Cam enough time to sit there and actually get truly healthy. I heard a rumor that he should be back for the Jacksonville game.
That's like 2 weeks, right?
That's in 2 weeks. If Kyle Allen's still playing good, extend it longer. Extend it longer, and hopefully Cam will be ready to come back for like a playoff run.
Right.
Got you.
I still believe in you, Cam. You still got it, man.
What you got, Jamal?
A couple of weeks ago, you were drawing the Andrew Luck Cam Newton comparison in regards to sitting out a year. I don't know about a whole year, but based off what we saw today, Cam, take as long as you need, brother. Take as long as you need. Now, I am not off the Cam Newton boat. I have been pretty consistent the last couple of weeks. Again, I don't know why everybody is not acknowledging how hurt Cam Newton really is and how beat up he really is. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people feel like a lot of people are making excuses for Cam Newton, but it's reality.
Yeah.
Anybody who has followed Cam Newton's career up to this point, you clearly see a physical disadvantage the last 8 to 9 games going back to last season. So why are we so quick to overreact, man? Like I get fans love the new thing and may not even understand what the new thing is yet.
Yeah.
We have this shiny new toy, but we ain't really played with it but 1 week. Let's quell our expectations just a little bit.
Got an interesting parallel. So Cam and Luck have been compared a lot.
No, don't go there.
Both of their backups are shining, man. I'm telling you, man. I see the sun of optimism.
Well, let's reel it back in and let's talk about the game today. Just overall, give me your thoughts on the game, Roddy.
They played with a sense of urgency. They knew this game was important. You didn't want to get too far behind the 8 ball. They believe in Kyle Allen, man. They really do. Yeah. They bought into him. They believed in him. And Norv called a wonderful game. Yeah. Norv called a wonderful game.
Now you're saying that he called it. Here's the deal that frustrates me. When you look at teams that has quarterbacks like a Cam Newton, that has these mobile dual threat quarterbacks, when the game isn't going too good, and last year was a perfect example for the Cleveland Browns and the Buffalo Bills with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
And when they go out for whatever reason, whether they get benched, whether they get injured, when the more prototypical stay in the pocket type quarterback comes in, it always seems like the play calling gets better. Because
they trust the quarterback better.
So do you think today was more North Turner calling a better game plan, or do you think it's more this is what I want, so now I can put him in a better position to win?
I think it's game planning, and then also playing to the strengths of Kyle Allen. for the first time this year, we're seeing a healthy quarterback.
Yeah.
Who can really push it down the field and actually scramble. So this was the full game plan for him. He game planned. He said, okay, Kyle, this is your strength. We're going to go here, here, here. We're going to try to get everybody involved. And they executed today.
Right.
I seen everybody smiling. The passion was there, and I loved it. It's the first time I seen it.
And I'll give you that. And my bad for leaving you out, Jamal. But I saw a different Christian McCaffrey today. I saw him make a few cuts that he chose for whatever reason not to make last week during the Tampa Bay game. And I don't know if he just had an off game. I don't know if he saw that once Tampa Bay was zeroing in on him, he was like, oh man, I'm kind of out. But I saw a different CMC. I saw a faster Greg Olsen today. And it may even been by only half a mile.
How does he keep getting open, man?
Hey man, 11 days to do that to you, man.
Yeah, true that.
11 days to do it to you, man.
Yes.
Like
we're discounting that.
Yeah,
they
they did just have a long break. So good job to Ron Rivera right now for motivating them today. What you got?
I'm going to speak more to that Christian McCaffrey statement.
Okay.
I think you saw a different Christian McCaffrey because they were not so dependent on Christian McCaffrey. They did not overuse Christian McCaffrey. You get what I'm saying? There was a play where they tried to put him on the outside that didn't go anywhere, and that was last time you saw Christian McCaffrey line up as a receiver, and you see what happened. Like, I don't want to say overworked, but when the other team knows where you're going every single time, it's hard to cloak that. You get what I'm saying?
It was so predictable.
It was so predictable. And today, we were not predictable. This is why we saw Curtis Samuel having a productive game. This is why we saw Greg Olsen have a great game.
Great game.
This is why we saw Christian McCaffrey have 150 something yards a game because they could not zero in on just one player. Okay. So
now,
why does Greg Olsen look like he just got out the bed and he has plantar fasciitis in both feet? He runs like, and it's just like, how's he open all the time?
I just think with Greg Olsen, especially being a tight end, he's not too agile. So his movements are a lot more deliberate. He has to think about his movements. And
he's getting it done, man.
When you're a receiver who's not fast, who doesn't have that ability to break away, you have to be a good route runner.
Yeah.
And no matter how slow you are of a wide receiver, if you can run routes, you will get open. And I think that's been a good thing with Greg Olsen, his ability to run routes.
And he did wonders for my fantasy football team today. So thank you, Mr. Greg Olsen.
So while we were talking about specific players, we're going to take Allen out of this next question, okay? Because I think that would be the consensus answer. So other than Allen, give me your one standout player today, Jamal.
I'm going to go with Brian Burns.
Okay.
I think he played a heck of a game today, man. I think he was literally all over the field. There was a play where, as a rookie, I was just blown away. Yeah. There was a play where Kyle Allen dropped back, and the pocket was collapsing. So Kyle Allen had a decision. He was either going to run to his right or run to his left.
Murray
had to decide whether he's running to his right or his left. And Brian Burns was engaged in the block, but he spun off the block and held his contain to make Murray make a split decision to go the other way, which resulted in a sack.
Yep.
And I'm just like, that's not rookie stuff. That's like vet stuff right there. Now, the sacks and the tackles, that's the stuff that's going to show up on the highlights. That kind of stuff is going to make him a Hall of Famer. You get what I'm saying? So I was super impressed by Burns today.
What you got, Rodney?
I'm going with Action Jackson, man.
Oh yeah.
Man, he overshot some stuff and missed some tackles, but he made up for it.
I don't mean to cut you off, but is that not who Jackson is?
Yeah.
It's either a home run or a strikeout with Jackson.
And he had a whole lot of home runs today. He laid down the boom today. and that last interception, oh my gosh, man, that was the elevation on it, man.
And you know, it's funny. It's funny because he's a second-year player. He actually had an interception just like that last year as a rookie.
Right.
Near the exact same sideline, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to go with Jackson as well today.
Gotcha.
Both good and bad because Jackson had about 3 plays where he could have made big tackles, big time tackles, and he whiffed on them for whatever reason.
But
the tackles he did make, those 2 interceptions. Like, hey, Jackson, you talk your shit.
And I'm gonna tell you something, man. Jackson is infectious. Like when he gets it going, when he's making plays, I think that feeds on that defense, man. I really do, man.
He's like the Cam Newton personality,
right?
Defense.
With the defense, exactly. And we have not seen that level of swag from the defense at all this season.
Yeah, so I agree.
Big ups. So speaking of Cam Newton. Let's
boy.
go back. We can't do a Panthers pod without speaking about Cam Newton. So one thing I want to talk about, I want to talk about his overall health and the way he's been treated by the organization as well as the fans. I just want to kind of get some of you guys' perspective. So I saw a tweet the other day from Cal Bailey from WF&Z, and he updated his Twitter speaking on every starting left tackle that Cam Newton has had since 2013. And I'm going to run out some of these names, okay? So you had Jordan Gross, you had Byron Bell, you got Michael Orr, you got Mike Rimmers, you got Matt Khalil, who's in the process of getting benched right now. But another conversation, Chris Clark, and you had Darrell Williams.
I just had nightmares just now.
Also, keep in mind that in 2013, his receivers were Steve Smith, Brandon LaFell, and Ted Ginn. And the organization rewarded him by taking away every receiver that had ever made a catch in 2013. And he went into the next season with the rookie Kevin Benjamin, Jericho Cotchery, Brent Burson, and Philly Brown. So how has a 3-time Pro Bowler, NFL MVP, an
Rookie
offensive MVP, Rookie of the Year, he's number 1 in the team in passing yards, passing touchdowns. He has a better completion percentage in Panthers history than Jake Delhomme. He has a better interception percentage interception rate than Jake Delhomme. How does a player of his caliber gets treated the way he has been treated by not only the fan base, the organization itself?
And you forgot one. He's had 3 different coordinators.
And he's had 3 different offensive coordinators.
I'll speak to the organization first. I don't think it's for lack of trying. I think it's for lack of not really knowing how to get the best out of him. One thing you got to consider, his rookie year, he had Rob Chizitsky as his offensive coordinator, who was pretty good at his job. Now, a lot of people criticize Chud because his offense didn't really jive with what a defense is trying to do because it was a quick strike offense. A lot of people would say, hey, the defense is on the field too much, but that's another story for another day. Can't put up some pretty big numbers with Chud. But just like you said, all those receivers under Chud's system, it took him away.
The 8.
And then we get Mike Shula, whole different set of receivers, whole entirely different offense, polar opposites. We go to the Super Bowl with it somehow, despite Shula. They take all his receivers away again. When they finally start putting some pieces around him, like some like the Christian McCaffreys and some speed guys around him, TJ Watt ruins Cam Newton's progression, his shoulder, his arm, whatever. And then all of a sudden, everybody forgets about it.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss for words. Because I just, people have, when I say people, mainly fans and sports media, have some very short memories.
Yeah.
And those short memories, it comes across as just flat out disrespect, man. It really does. And, you know, there's a lot of people say, oh, man, we're tired of making excuses for Cam Newton. These are not excuses, people. These are facts. Yeah. We're not making this up. So I'm at a loss, dude.
What you got, Rodney?
So, coming in, Cam Newton threw for 4,000 yards.
With no offseason.
No training camp. Older Steve Smith. 2 tight end sets with Olsen and Shockey. Threw for 4,000 yards.
And then they just...
And then Ron Rivera's like, nah, we need to go more conservative. We don't trust you throwing as much. So we're going to just hand the ball off and let you run and ruin your career. That's what happened. You use him as a running back. You're going to have a running back career.
I have never seen the zone read offense get used as much in the NFL as I did when Cam Newton and Mike Shula were together as quarterback and offensive coordinator.
And the crazy thing is, people say, "Oh, he can't throw." You don't throw for 4,000 yards and can't throw.
Can't throw.
What is it? One of two quarterbacks in the history of the NFL to throw for 3,000 yards every season for their first 8 seasons in the NFL.
And
one of two quarterbacks to do it. No, you're good.
You're good.
No, I was gonna say I think what throws people off about Cam Newton, I'm more so talking about Cam Newton before the shoulder, is that yes, he'll miss some throws that'll make you scratch your head. I think we all know that. But what people don't mention enough, he will also make some throws that you'll say,
"Oh my
there's
gosh.
nobody else in the NFL who can make that throw." Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
But we all know once the narrative gets rolling, you get what I'm saying? People are going to hop on the bandwagon, and here we are.
Cam Newton, when he was in college, I wasn't a fan because he beat Clemson. I'm a Clemson guy.
We know, man.
But there was a narrative of Cam Newton. He's going to fail. Running quarterbacks don't succeed. The people in the fan base wanted Blaine Gabbert. They wanted Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck didn't want to be here. Cam came here and turned the whole program around.
He made us relevant.
He made us relevant. Like he was the face of the Carolina Panthers. I know Luke is popular, but Cam is the driving force. The quarterback is always the driving force. Sorry, Cam haters, but he was the driving force. And we hold Cam to things that he did in college. Yeah, he stole a laptop. That was in college. He has become a model citizen since then. And I think a lot of the hate towards him is because they never thought he would succeed. And so he proved all the doubters wrong. And now that he's hurt and his performance is not up to par, people are now piling on. See, I told you so, but you're like 9 years too late.
Right.
And I'm gonna use some coded language here. I wouldn't be me if I didn't ask this question. So with the overreaction that we're seeing today after the Cardinals lost to our Panthers, with everyone saying Cam Newton is done, getting him out of here, we have a new quarterback, we have a new sheriff in town. How much do you guys think that is as far as a representation of where we geographically are located at? How much you guys think that's playing a part in it?
To be honest with you, in my opinion, geography ain't got nothing to do with anything, man. America likes its
country music.
Yeah.
No, F that. America likes its black quarterback in the modes of like a Russell Wilson. Don't say too much. Don't overtly have swag or anything like that. Don't become yourself. Your hair needs to be in check. You don't look like Brett Favre did in his Wrangler jeans. You don't compose yourself like Troy Aikman did. And so Cam goes against. He's the anti what we've seen from a quarterback the whole time, and it just pissed people off that he's had so much success. And so geography ain't got to do nothing with anything. I mean, because America's a whole. Like, think about this. Like 30, 40, 35 years ago, there was an announcer saying that he didn't think black quarterbacks could succeed because they didn't have the intellectual capacity.
Yeah.
That was in my lifetime.
Right. Relatively short time.
That was I was a baby. That was in my lifetime.
Right. Right.
And so people like that are still alive and they had kids and stuff like that and it passed down. And so it's sadly it's never going to change.
And it's funny you say that because you say that this country wants their quarterbacks in a certain way, more specifically their black quarterbacks. And when I look at Deshaun Watson, and when I look at Patrick Mahomes, and I look at Jackson up in Baltimore, and I'm like, these quarterbacks are the future. Everybody loves them, no matter who you are, no matter what team you root for. Everybody loves them. But as soon as, if one of them decides to take a stand on some sort of issue, if they decide to start speaking out on race-related topics, if they decide to start dressing like a Cam Newton, then all of a sudden they're gonna end up becoming a mediocre quarterback. Yeah. And I just think it sucks that I even have that thought process. But every time I see them,
it's warranted.
That's what I think.
I mean, before this year, Lamar Jackson had that mediocre quarterback label. He's a running back. Mm-hmm. And so he had to go out and prove
They were
himself.
trying to make him a wide receiver.
Yeah, they're wide receiver. And then, like, you look at somebody like a Josh Allen, he was terrible last year. He's gotten better this year, but he was afforded that opportunity without as much scrutiny to become better.
Yeah.
My favorite rapper once said, "People fear what they can't understand." And I think Cam Newton, for a lot of people, they can't understand how, this brash, confident quarterback has brushed off every negative thing everybody has ever said about him. He's been under the smallest of microscopes since he's been here. He can't have a bad day. He can't pout. He can't be mad. He can't be upset. He can't do anything without. He can't put on that kind of shirt. He can't put on his hat. All this man wants to do is live his life and be who he is. And he has unapologetically been who he is. He said some things that I don't agree with. He's done some things that he should be held accountable for. But let me remind you, Cam Newton, since the laptop, whatever, something I don't really even care about anymore, Cam Newton has not been arrested. There is no domestic violence situation with Cam Newton. There is no scandal with Cam Newton. What are we really mad at? What has he done that's been so terrible that when I say we, not really we, but what is it that people really truly don't like about the guy? Can anybody give me something?
I don't have an answer. But speaking of people being upset, there's a lot of upset Falcons fans right now after taking that loss they did today.
That's awesome.
So let's go outside and let's go mess with them right quick, and we'll be right back, y'all. All right?
All right.
And we're back. Falcons fans are still upset. It's a great day.
It's a
y'all.
great day.
All right.
It's a great day.
We're going to move
Awesome
over
day.
into our culture segment.
Rise up and sit down.
And our first topic of our culture segment
Die, Eagles,
will kind
die.
of be sports related, okay? So for those of you that aren't aware, Calvin Johnson was interviewed by Sports Illustrated earlier this week, and basically the conversation was centered around him leaving the NFL early, if he regretted his decision and all that good stuff. So some of the things that he said was, one, he had no regrets. He smoked weed after every game, which blows my mind.
Smoke weed every day.
I'm not mad at him for doing it, but just watching Eric Reed
Get tested
getting
every
drug
10 minutes.
tested 17 times in 2 weeks. Like, I mean, I don't get how Calvin Johnson was able to smoke weed every single Sunday, but I get it. It's the lifestyle. Let me see. When he left, when he decided to retire, he had to pay back his bonus to the Detroit Lions. While the Indianapolis Colts told Andrew Luck, hey, you've more than paid your dues. You keep all your money. So there's that.
This is America.
He's been asked to come out and work out with some of the Lions wide receivers. And he said he will. He has no problems doing so. But he will not do anything in the Lions Stadium. So, like, pick an off-field site, we'll go there, but he's not going to walk on that field. So, he talked about his concussions. He talked about the Lions' commitment or lack thereof to winning. Just give me some of your thoughts. And I'll tell you why I wanted to talk about this later, but give me some of you guys' thoughts on this.
Refreshing that you can realize that you don't want to affect your future so much. He said that he had 9 concussions, and they lied about it and told him to go back in there and play. And the man has a family. He's looking out for his future. So it's refreshing that these players are feeling so empowered. Even Andrew Luck, that they're thinking about the long-term view. You have players like Junior Seau, which is a tragic story, and some of these other older NFL players who struggle to get out of bed every day.
Right.
I mean, the money, the financial reward is cool, but what's your quality of life afterwards?
Yep.
And so it was quite refreshing to hear him say he had no regrets. He's a truly great receiver, man, and also the one thing that the Lions organization is trash. The whole organization is trash. You had 2 superstars in their primes. I'm done. I'm done. I don't even want to play for you.
And that's what in reading that article, I actually thought about Barry Sanders.
Yep.
Reading that article because it reminded me of Barry Sanders. Obviously, he can't do it right now, but Barry Sanders had been retired from the NFL for maybe like a decade. And when Emmitt Smith got the rushing record, if Barry Sanders would have came back and played to the caliber that we were accustomed to seeing him play, he could have retaken back that rushing title in like easily. 2.5 seasons.
Yeah. That's
how great of a player he was. And Detroit still found a way to drop the ball on that.
I what's interesting about the article, it kind of gave you kind of made you see just how much these NFL players sacrifice their bodies and really put their bodies on the line for these organizations who could care less about them. Now Detroit is the extreme bad end of the spectrum when it comes to this thing, and it just speaks to what Rodney said, man. Like, Detroit is easily one of the worst franchises in sports history.
And to top it off, they're in the city of Detroit.
And I've been there. Detroit.
I've been there. Oh my gosh,
it can't get more depressing. But I also found it empowering that he invests in real estate now. Yeah. He actually has some sort of cannabis CBD business. I forget the details, but the part that I found refreshing was he was confident that his life after football would be great.
Yeah.
He was not overly dependent on this organization who, for lack of a better term, treated him like dirt.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And speaking of treating someone like dirt, speaking of an organization being a very trash-ran organization, the biggest reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because we are a Charlotte sports and culture-based podcast. So I'm reading this article and I'm seeing all of these things that Detroit did. Hey, give me back your money that we promised you, even though you've had at a minimum 9 concussions and we still made you play anyway, or else you would have got cut. Hey, we're going to trade away Ndamukong Suh and I can't remember Farley out of Alabama. We're going to trade it because we're really not committed to winning. We, in a month's time frame, have come across another article of a team being exposed for the exact same thing that Michael Jordan continues to be accused of doing.
I don't understand.
I don't understand it, man.
Now, if we wake up 5 to 10 years from now and Kemba Walker puts an article out there and says Charlotte was not committed to winning and Michael Jordan just wanted his money, and that's why we drafted Frank Kaminsky when we could have got Devin Booker. That's why we didn't take Boston's 28 draft picks or whatnot.
28 late first round picks.
I have a lot of crow to eat, and I will eat it. But until I don't see Michael Jordan not wanting to win. I don't see the organization not wanting to win.
And I know what you're getting at, because between this and the Donald Sterling thing, those are organizations who truly didn't want to win, who really didn't want to win. So when some of y'all come at Hornets people, fans, us, whatever, and you come with this trash, oh man, they don't want to win. No, guys. These are examples of people who really don't want to win. And just in case you don't know where we're going with this is where we're going with this. And another thing the Lions did, Calvin Johnson, easily, if not the best receiver in his era, one of the best receivers there, he had a wide receiver coach that he truly loved. He adored. He basically said, this is the best receivers coach in the league. What did Detroit do? Let him go. They got rid of him.
And you just reminded me of something else. This was, now, I think this happened in year 7. I think this happened in year 7 with Calvin Johnson. He came into the preseason, and they were wanting to run whatever type of offense. And Calvin Johnson said, no, this offense is not going to work.
He said, we are literally not going to win the game if we keep this offense. And what did they do? They didn't win the game.
They went 0-16. They went 0-16. And he stuck with him for however many more years.
And how classy of a guy was he during that team? Because he never heard about Kevin Johnson speak out. He never threw anybody under the bus. Even though they probably should have been, he never done it. He never did.
And I honestly can't say that if I'm in his shoes, that I don't have some level of bitterness. Because Calvin Johnson.
God, could you imagine what he could have been on any other team, man?
Exactly.
Figure him like on the Panthers or even like New England.
I mean, just anybody functional.
Just anybody. He could go. He could have went down as a T.O. Randy Moss, Jerry
Almost
Rice
definitely.
type receiver.
But he was. That's the
And
thing.
he still was. He still was.
Just add winning to that.
Now,
you know what I'm saying?
I have a fond memory of Calvin Johnson. It was 2007.
I already know where you're going with this.
Clemson played Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. Yep.
We shut them boys down. Calvin Johnson had one catch on us.
Now, before I say something else, I want to ask you guys a question, and you guys may or may not be able to answer this question. With as great as a receiver as Calvin Johnson was, how does a player go to Georgia Tech and become the NFL receiver that he becomes? Because, and I know you know this, Rodney, Georgia Tech didn't pass the ball.
They had an option offense.
Yeah.
That was Joe Hamilton. They did pass a little bit then.
Was that before?
They didn't pass enough.
They did pass a little bit. Yeah. He was an All-American. Like he was the truth.
Really? So they passed enough.
They passed enough.
Okay, because every time I hear
Because I'm
Georgia
thinking
Tech,
about the Paul Johnson era. When
Yeah,
he was
that's
running
what
the
it is.
It was
option.
before Paul Johnson.
Okay.
It was before Paul Johnson.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, then I'll take that back. Well, speaking
He's a
of
beast, man.
Speaking of
him and Vernon, the dude that plays for the Redskins now, the tight end,
Vernon Davis.
Okay. Yeah. So for whatever reason, I was thinking of it. I was thinking of that little triple option.
Yeah.
They have 900 plays and 899 of them are running plays offense. That's what I was.
Nah,
thinking
it was
of.
different, man. It was different back then, man.
All right. Well, speaking of something different, we caught an Eagles loss today.
Yeah.
So once again, we're gonna go out and trash talk some of our Eagles fans, and then we'll be right back, y'all. All right.
Shout out to Jonah.
All right, y'all. It's gonna be a great week this week. You know, Falcons fans are upset. Eagles fans are upset. It's a beautiful thing right now. And as we record this show, we just got a notification that the Buccaneers, they actually lost.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers took a loss today, so that's what's up.
Shout out to Daniel Jones, the Charlotte, North Carolina kid.
Oh, yeah.
First NFL win. Comeback win.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely.
Are we shouting out Dave Gettleman? No.
Hey, no. We gotta wait till the end of the season to shout out Gettleman.
Okay.
But one last topic that I wanted to talk about today, and this will be a very freestyle-ish topic. Can an athlete be a successful athlete while simultaneously being an activist? And the reason why I ask this question is because with all the quarterbacks that are going down right now, you know, there's a lot of people talking about bringing in Colin Kaepernick. And there are some people out there who genuinely believe that Colin Kaepernick cannot be the quarterback that any team would need because he is too worried about his activism. So is it possible, or do you think one can do both effectively?
I'm going to start out. I might get some ish for saying this, but if your heart is in something, in two things, you can't be fully 100% into two things. You always going to have to make a choice. And so he might be a good quarterback, but some of his activism may suffer. Or he may be 100% activism, some of his quarterback may suffer. And so you have to make a conscious choice of where you're going to put all your energy at that point. I mean, I that's just the way I feel. I mean, there's gonna be pushback, but that's just how I feel about it sometimes. Like, it's when you're truly into something. Speaking for me, when I'm into something, I'm 100% in. Nothing else really truly matters. I mean, I have other interests, but they don't get my full attention. So that's just how I feel on it. Like, I don't think he's a distraction or anything like that, but he's going to do some soul searching too.
He shouldn't be a distraction, but he would be a distraction if somebody signed him. Now, to answer your question, Vince, I think the NFL has sadly answered that for us. No, you can't be an athlete and activist. We told you so. That's a sad statement to make, but it's been told to Colin Kaepernick, nah, you can't be an activist and play quarterback in the NFL. No, we don't. No, we can't mess up the good fortune of the NFL. We can't shake the ground here. No, we can't do that. I mean, my more serious answer is, I think you can do both, but you have little leeway to be bad.
Yeah.
Because what's the narrative of people who don't like Colin Kaepernick? Oh, he sucked. I remember one game. People love saying that. I remember one game. I literally hear a lot of people say that. They point to one bad game Colin Kaepernick had, and they will harp on that until the end of time.
Or you dress funny.
Or you dress funny. Or you arrogant. So it's a tricky question.
Yeah.
It really is. And speaking specifically to Colin Kaepernick, I want to bring this local because me and Kaiser talked about this off camera. We don't want this to happen. But what if one of our quarterbacks goes down? You mean to tell me Colin Kaepernick can't get a phone call from us? Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Despite whatever he's doing outside of football, you mean to tell me that dude doesn't deserve to be at least a third string quarterback on the team?
Yeah.
Despite all the wonderful things he's done off the field. He's put in at least enough work to get a phone call. So effectively, you can do it, but the NFL has told us otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and me personally, maybe effectively is a better word. Maybe that's a better word. I personally believe you can do both. And I say that because you look at a lot of big time athletes in and outside of football. Even with them performing at a high level with their athletics, you have a lot of athletes who they're buying chicken restaurants, or they're buying pizza joints, or they got real estate, or they're giving back in some type of way. And when you see them doing these things, you never see someone say, "Hey, you should stop buying all these houses."
I would say to that, a lot of them have advisors and people that they trust in their circle handling those transactions, and like when everything's close, I think that a lot of them get, "Hey man, we got this deal right here. How do you feel about this? It's your yes or no."
But on the opposite end of the spectrum, we've seen examples of Dennis Rodman go to Las Vegas during the NBA Finals and come back and pull down 18 rebounds. We've seen Rob Gronkowski party with models and be on boats and drink and do all this other crazy stuff and chugging beers, and then go out and be the best tight end in football. So there's always people who know how to strike a balance.
And I tell you what, there was a documentary. I want to say it was on the 49ers. I can't remember if it was a 30 for 30, but it was back when Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders were teammates. And if you guys remember, Jerry Rice was your typical football,
right.
Eat, sleep, drink football.
Right.
We're not practicing. Okay, I'm going to my room.
Right.
That was it. Deion Sanders was
I'm putting my fur coat.
Party.
Right.
The night before the Super Bowl. Deion Sanders and the rest of the defense, they were out partying. And Jerry Rice was feeling some type of way about it. And Jerry was like, "Hey, like you guys, I think you guys need to take this a little bit more seriously. We got a Super Bowl to play tomorrow." And Deion was like, "Man, chill. We're going to beat them Bulls by like 40, 50 points anyway."
And they did.
And they went out there and beat them Bulls by 40, 50
like 40-something points.
And to kind of speak to Jamal's point, I think depending on the subject matter, what it is, if it doesn't force you to look in the mirror and reflect, I think people are okay with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to Colin Kaepernick specifically, I think the only reason he's been ostracized the way he is simply because of what he's advocating for. I think that's it.
Pretty much, man, because that word activism, it gets skewed by so many people when it shouldn't be. Because Colin Kaepernick's activism has been made about something else a lot.
Now, Jamal, let me ask you a question. You believe that you can do both effectively.
Right.
Maybe not both 100, but effectively.
Right.
So I'm going to throw a name out there. And in regards to being an athlete and an activist, I want you to give me a yes or no as to whether or not he's done it effectively.
Okay.
LeBron James.
Come on. Very much so.
What you got, Rodney?
Absolutely.
I think LeBron, the structure that he has around him is great enough where they insulate him a lot, and you don't see the strings that are being pulled for him behind the scenes.
He's got a great team.
So getting back more so to your circle, having a good
it's
circle.
it's having a good circle and having everybody kind of looking out for you, just people that you know that are trustworthy enough where you could just trust them to to handle business for
his
him. Stuff
boys
like that.
work for him.
His boys. That's what I'm saying. Like
the boys he
day
considers
ones.
his brothers, right?
And before we did this podcast, I actually went and I researched a few names as far as activism goes. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't really find anybody that successfully done both.
There's not too many.
Other than LeBron James, there's one other name that comes to mind, and that's Megan Rapinoe.
I would say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar a little bit.
Muhammad Ali, obviously.
Well, and see, that's what makes this conversation so sketch, because even though Ali was an activist, can we say that he was successful because he lost 3 years of his career?
I was just gonna say it was obviously a tumultuous role for Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can't argue the success.
Yeah,
you can't argue the success outside the ring. You damn sure can't argue inside the ring.
You'll have to. There has to be a sacrifice at some point,
right?
That you make. So
now, if we speak, if we add in the element of sacrifice, then there's a lot of athletes that comes into that. Because
right.
One of the names, there were two names that I came up with earlier. One name was Kurt Flood. Mm-hmm. And Kaiser, I'm sure you're familiar with that name. Maybe you, Jamal, you're a baseball guy. Mm-hmm. But in baseball, there was a reverse clause, mm-hmm. which essentially means the MLB owned you. And they could literally, they did whatever the heck they want. And Kurt Flood, he fought that. And he lost the last 3 years of his career, I think. So he ended up not being able to play again. But he ended up getting the end result that he wanted, and the other players after him benefited from it.
Another name I look at is Jim Brown.
Yeah, Jim Brown, yeah.
He was an activist, and then he didn't play long.
Yeah.
I have to... There's a question I want to ask, because we're mentioning Jim Brown and Muhammad Ali. These are two absolute legends. I'm talking about two of probably the best at whatever they did, arguably. You get what I'm saying? So another question that needs to be asked is, can you do it? If you're willing to be an activist, how good do you have to be at your profession? If Colin Kaepernick is Tom Brady, is there really an issue?
Yeah.
He's playing right now. If he's Tom Brady good, I'm not saying Colin Kaepernick's not good. I'm just saying how good, what's the level? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Now, to switch gears a little bit, there's two names I want to kind of mention here. I don't want to call them activists, but they were two very outspoken athletes. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf and Craig Hodges.
Yeah.
Once they start being outspoken,
bye-bye.
You didn't hear from them anymore. And it's important to note that this was in the David Stern era.
Yeah.
David Stern got a lot of blemishes in his era.
While Donald Sterling was wreaking havoc in
calling
LA.
us Bucks.
Yeah.
Just leave that alone.
We're going to leave that one alone today.
Hey, y'all, that was pretty dope conversation. Pretty dope. That might be something we can revisit at another podcast. But real quick, Jamal, I know you got some heat, so I'm going to let you go last, okay?
All right.
But Rodney, start us off with our shout-outs, all right?
I'm going to shout out Mr. Kyle Allen, man. Yeah. Kyle 150 Allen.
Yeah.
And then also, I love NASCAR. So, and then I'm gonna take a shot at the haters, man. There's a couple of radio hosts I heard this week saying that Kyle Allen isn't an NFL quarterback. The brother's 2-0 as a starter. I'm gonna just leave it like that. And I know y'all got some heat, and I'm gonna sit back and watch the heat.
You know who wasn't 2-0 as a starter?
Who's that?
When he 0-9.
Cam Newton lost the first two.
Yeah, he sure did.
Well, all right. So for my shout out, for anybody that's listening, anybody that's watching, I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna portray this, but so if I drop any F-bombs or anything like that, I'm apologizing in advance because I do know we got some sensitive ears out there. But I want to give a shout out to the city of Charlotte. And the reason why I want to give a shout out to the city of Charlotte is because at the moment I stay at my uncle's house, right? As I, continue to like save up and all that other millennial shit, right? So since living at my uncle's place, we live in a cul-de-sac, right? And there have been times where I've waken up in the morning with a yellow slip on my car. And what happens is in my cul-de-sac, if your tire is on the grass, and when I say grass, I mean the yard, you get a citation. Typically, you get a warning, basically saying that, hey, don't park on the grass, or next time it's a $25 fine.
What?
And I got a slip on my car, and this was like 2 years ago. I got a slip on my car, and there probably wasn't even a fingernail worth of tread on the grass. But I got a ticket basically saying, hey, keep your tires off the grass. Okay, cool, whatever. Just this past week, we got another slip. And when the trash runs on Mondays. Mm-hmm. And I've always operated under the assumption that once the trash runs, you have 24 hours to get your trash can out the yard and off the street, put it back in the yard. I found out last week that wasn't the case. I got a slip, a warning, basically saying that, hey, you need to start getting your trash off the road in a timely manner. Next time it's a $25 fee. As opposed to having 24 hours, we now have until 11:59 Monday night to get the trash can off the road. And I don't like it, but if those are the rules, those are the rules. Yeah. I am perfectly fine with that. But my question to the city of Charlotte is, how is it that within the span of less than 24 hours, you are able to see my car illegally parked for all intents and purposes, and you're able to see my trash can on the side of the road, but for 20 plus 5 fucking years, you did not see Cedar fucking Grove Cemetery and all those damn trees growing on that motherfucking ground. How the fuck did you miss that shit? How did you miss that shit? Answer me. How can you see my car, which does not sit still for very long, on the grass?
You got a fan.
And let me know, but you can't see. But you did. You missed Cedar Grove.
Bitch is knocking me over today.
You missed Cedar Grove. Look, I don't get it. I don't get it. Hey, I get it. You're doing your job, and I use that very loosely. But let's do our job. Let's do our job all the way, Charlotte. Okay, and this is not a threat by any means, but I emailed all you guys about a week ago about the continued cleanup of Cedar Grove. I haven't gotten anything, so sometime next week I'll be down at City Hall.
Dunlap Mania running wild, brother.
All right, y'all. That wasn't as intense as I thought it was gonna be. But
you know what you should do? I
just found it very perplexing.
You should make a Cedar Grove Cemetery banner and put it on your car, and then put it on the grass and see how they respond.
That's what's up.
That's
what's up.
I had something to say, but it's not appropriate. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to start out with my pleasant shout outs first. I want to shout out Travis Kearns. I'm trying to make it a habit of anybody that I kind of remember that walks up to me and says, hey, man, I really love what y'all are doing. Don't stop what you're doing.
Sherrod Gary.
I'm going to try to keep them in mind in my shout-outs. So shout out to my brother, Travis Kearns. Shout out to Lafia Hayes. Love you. Keep strong. Stay strong. My shout-at goes to a miserable human being
who actually lives in Charlotte.
Who should have ended up on a paper towel. I don't understand why people who are jealous of other people can't just come out and say, hey, I'm a miserable human being, so I'll never have anything positive to say about another human being who's way more successful at life than I'll ever be, who will make more money than I'll ever make, who will be more relevant than I will ever be. Paul Feinbaum, seek therapy. You are the most miserable cunt I have ever seen on TV in my life. When you are a quote unquote journalist or a media personality, a part of that duty is to be objective and to be fair. This man has been unfair to Cam Newton since his days at Auburn. Maybe because he's an Alabama fan. Maybe it's just some deep rooted Auburn, Alabama hate. I don't really think so. I think Paul Feinbaum wakes up every morning, has a Cam Newton poster right in front of him and said, God, I'll never be as successful as Cam Newton. So let me go on TV and hate him as much as I possibly can and make other miserable old white human beings like myself follow suit. Paul Feinbaum, you go to hell.
Gaza, what you got?
After that? I got nothing.
Thank you for watching the Construction. We wish you a wonderful.
Shout out to Ryan Clark.
Shout out to Ryan Clark.
Yeah. We got to tag him on there. Hey, y'all. Appreciate it again. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, and follow on all platforms. And we'll see you guys next week. All right.
Kyle Allen, who riding for 19?
Start him up, fellas. I'm like, shit.